Okay, we just got done seeing one. It was about Laurel and Hardy, which was called Stan and Ollie. Yeah, and this movie just kind of came out of nowhere on the AMC app. I mean, there wasn't any, didn't see any previews. It didn't even say coming soon. Just boom.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. That happened with replicas as well. Yeah. It just seemed like it just kind of popped up in the poster, and I was just like, oh, okay, let's go see that.
So I guess they didn't buy any promotional stuff.
Yeah, we didn't see any trailers for it or anything.
Who starred in this? Do you remember
this? This was John C. Reilly was playing Oliver Hardy, and Steve Coogan, who I love Steve Coogan, was playing Stan Laurel. Yeah,
and Reilly was the same guy that was in Watson, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was in Holmes and Watson. He was in The Sisters Brothers.
That's right.
He's in shit tons of movies.
And he was in a fat suit to make him look a bit fatter.
Yes, he's not nearly that obese.
Right. Well, this is a perfectly good movie. There's nothing wrong with it. The script I thought was pretty tight. Sets looked really cool. There were a lot of Art Deco sets. Acting was good, and I think it was a very good portrayal of what those guys were like and what their material was like. Just a perfectly okay movie.
Yeah, I actually really liked it because what it is, it doesn't focus on Laurel and Hardy when they were like super famous, like in the 30s. They even said at the beginning, like the peak of their popularity was about 1937.
Right.
This actually takes place 16 years later.
Yeah, their careers are kind of on
when they were very, very, much older.
Yeah.
And this was like this movie producer guy or somebody had like set up this tour, and this is actually, they showed actual photographs at the end, like during the credits of the actual people doing it. So this was like, so they're like touring England.
Yeah.
Doing their vaudevillian shtick, like
on
and
they're doing vaudeville stuff that's very out of date.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, they were able to pull it out and actually started to pack theaters. It's in kind of like a comeback tour.
Yeah.
And they're trying to raise the money and or trying to bring their careers back up to a point to where a studio will make a movie.
Yeah, they want to make another movie because they haven't made one in a long time. So they're doing like this live show, and it's kind of like it's actually it's really good. Like I thought it was like a really, you know what I thought about this movie? It's really sweet.
Yeah, it's a buddy picture.
Yeah, it was like, it just kind of like
it's a lot. It's about friendship, and it's about loyalty.
A lot into their relationship with each other, and and it was actually really, really sweet. Like,
it's also about forgiving people.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, actually, in my experience, dude bros and dudes forgive each other for shit, and really they get into that a lot.
Yeah, and I really like that aspect. Yeah. Also, I should say, I know that Shirley Henderson played Oliver Hardy's wife, and I've seen her in lots of other movies. Yes, that is her real voice, because I've seen her in other movies. She has a very, very squeaky voice.
Yeah, kind of flapper sounding.
Yeah, so she plays Oliver Hardy's wife. Now, the woman that played Stan Laurel's wife, the Russian girl,
knocked it out of the park.
Those two, they almost stole the movie. Yeah, when the two of them were sniping at each other and everything like that. Just these little barbs they had at each other, and like the girl that was playing the Russian girl is just
Stan's wife was a kind of a no nonsense Russian ball breaker girl who was a dancer. Yeah, she was a dancer and an actress, and
she was just not having
she's quite cool, actually.
She's quite cool. When the two of them like came into the movie, like later on, it's like I said, they almost stole the movie just because their like interactions were so funny.
Yeah.
And their interactions were like way funnier than Laurel and Hardy's actual like bits, you know what I mean?
we had to do the review outside in the car because once again we were invaded by old people. And this movie was an old people magnet.
It was an old people magnet movie.
And boy, they were talking beginning and after. They didn't want to leave the theater. They loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, old people loved this movie.
But they were hanging out in the hallway, like right outside the theater, like yapping. So we're like, okay, well, let's go out in the car because we can't have these oldsters, all these geezers like talking to me. We're old too, but come on.
Yeah, these people were, they were old.
They were really like way old, like our grandparents' age old.
Yeah, I think they were in their 80s.
Yeah, that's what I mean. My grandparents' age.
Yeah, but good movie. I could recommend it. I mean, it's not an action movie. You're not talking about sci-fi. This is a buddy flick.
Yeah. And it's like, it's a comedy drama, I would call it. Like, a lot of the comedy is very, it's Steve Coogan, if you've seen some of his other movies. It's, you know, it's like very low-key kind of.
And the comedy doesn't come from Laurel and Hardy acts. Their material is just not funny by today's standards.
Not by today's standards,
not by
of course. Back then, like, old people, it was easy to entertain them. And
they were laughing about it. They were laughing about it. The audience, the old people in the audience were laughing over the Laurel and Hardy material. Me and her just looking like, oh, God,
yeah. But that was kind of the whole point of the movie, that their shtick was old, and they were still, you know, there was like people in the, you know, the characters in the movie that were saying like, oh, it's so cool that you guys are still around,
still doing that same old material. They're like,
they're like, yeah, thanks.
But what was funny was just like the relationship between the two guys and the shit that they did.
That was like that's the heart of the movie, and I think that was kind of like the whole.
That's the purpose of the movie.
The purpose of the movie was just showing their friendship and in their declining years, and
their friendship was a lot more funny than their material.
Yes, that is a way of putting it. And like I said, and their wives were much funnier than their material.
And the shit that they were doing after the shows.
All
right, so we'll just leave it at that. It's a good flick.
Yeah. Good movie.
Okay, we just got done seeing The Kid Who Would Be King, which is... it's a continuation of the King Arthur legend. If you ever saw that original old Excalibur movie from the 70s that had...
It was 82, actually.
Was it 82?
81, 82.
Yeah, it was directed by the guy who did Zardos. Excellent movie. This one kind of fits right along in there with that.
It did kind of follow the same...
Yeah, it even had some callbacks to the original.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It didn't quite capture that same kind of dark gravitas that Excalibur did, but the intended audience is very different in this one. You can tell it was intended for a younger audience, you know, tweens, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
They took the Arthurian legend and they've kind of continued it, and they've kind of, I would say, given it the Harry Potter treatment.
Yeah, it was a similar tone to Harry Potter.
Yeah, it was very much a similar tone to that very first Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And the way they kind of wrap up the story, they let you know that this is kind of like an origin story, and it's going to continue, and it may not involve swords or, you know, things like that, or, you know, and armor. When I first saw the trailer, I just did not want to see this. I just didn't. But watching the movie, it was competently done, and it was well written. It didn't make a lot of the mistakes that a lot of kids movies make. They kind of stuck true to the Arthurian legends of the past, and then they also kind of held true to the hero's journey format, where things didn't come easily. They actually had to kind of suffer for them, that they didn't pull together as a team at first, but they actually had to train to learn how to fight, you know, which I appreciated that part of the movie.
Yeah.
That it didn't come easy, and that you actually, and really kind of what that does is it kind of makes the audience suspect that the stakes are maybe high, that maybe they won't all make it.
Yeah.
That type of deal. So it adds tension. Other than that, you know, I mean, I thought the movie was good for its intended audience. I don't know if it'll succeed in rebooting a series of Arthurian legends.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You know, it's difficult to say how the market will react to it, but yeah,
I kind of feel like it would probably do pretty well. I mean, the Harry Potter movies, you know, it's a similar kind of vein. Like I said, I think the problem with the trailer was that I think they
made it look very silly.
Well, they portrayed it as being kind of zany and stuff like that, which I guess the premise could be something, you know, it's like a bunch of little kids. The main kid is a 12-year-old kid, and he draws the sword from the stone, which you see in the trailers. But it had like little funny moments, but it took itself very seriously. Yeah, it was a serious story. There was danger. There was scary parts. You know what I mean? It wasn't like this wacky, like hijinks kind of shit. You know what I mean? It was actually like a Harry Potter type movie where it was just like a bunch of little kids. They had to pull together. You know, they got beat up and all this other kind of stuff.
I think the trailer should have kind of focused more on a little bit of the darker aspects of the movie, really. And I think it would have attracted more of my attention. But like I said, you know what I mean, the intended audience is pretty young.
Yeah, like I said, it's usually a tweens, young teen type of thing, or like little kids.
Even though we were sitting in a theater full of old people watching it.
Well, that's usual.
Yeah, and they were chuckling though. But I think the audience.
It's because we come during the day, and like when people our age are like at school or at work.
A couple things that stood out of the movie is that it opened up with an animated scene that was excellent.
Yeah, I liked the opening credits. So that was really nicely.
I could have watched the whole movie like that, where they're retelling the Arthurian legend in case you don't know, because a lot of the kids wouldn't know. Another thing that stands out is that all the acting was good.
Yeah, I really liked like the four main kids
Casting
that are in this
good.
Are really good. Like they're all like kind of different personality types, but you totally bought that eventually, like after a while, they actually kind of pulled together as a team. And I loved that little Indian kid.
Yeah, one of them that really stood out to me was the actor that played Lance, which is kind of like a reincarnation of Lancelot.
Yeah.
This kid's kind of a spitting image of a young Billy Idol.
He's a Draco Malfoy type.
Yeah,
for all you
and
fans out there.
He immediately struck me as star material. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that kid continues on to.
He's got a great face.
Yeah, he would really make a really good James Bond in about 15 years.
Yeah.
Could you imagine seeing that kid as James Bond?
But he's good,
like 30?
He's good because like he started out as kind of a villain because he's like the main bully and everything like that. But he kind of can be a good guy too. So. Yeah, I think he was really good at it. They were all good. All the kids were good.
All the kids were good, but for me, that kid stuck out.
Yeah.
I think that as long as he follows the correct career path, you'll see that guy in more movies.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I wonder how old he is. I'm not sure.
He's probably about 16, 17,
probably. He might be older than he looks, but I don't know. He's playing a high school student.
Which means in 10 years, he could play a young Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he might be good at that, actually.
Yeah, I was thinking, man, a dude would make a good James Bond.
Yeah.
After Daniel Craig is gone,
But actually, I really, like I said, if you like Harry Potter, I can't imagine why you wouldn't like this because, similar fantasy with like, kids that age, so like 12 and up.
Yeah.
And, there's some darker shit in it, like with the stuff they do with Morgana and like all of her knights and stuff like that are really cool looking.
Yeah.
So,
I can't see, if the movie succeeds, I can't see why they wouldn't make more of these.
Yeah.
And just watching the movie, I think it has a good chance of succeeding, but you never can tell, man.
You never know, but I think it seems like something that would probably be. I mean, Arthurian legends, you kind of can't go wrong with that if it's done right. So,
all right, good movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, just got done seeing Miss Bala, and Miss Bala was a action-adventure flick about a Mexican-American girl that gets abducted by narco-terrorists. It's kind of like an elite gang of narco-terrorists, and the DEA thinks she's working with them, so she kind of she tries to escape, but she gets caught in between the DEA and a narco-terrorist group, and it gets worse from there. It was
there's some bad shit out.
It was some fucking cool flick. The trailer for this is absolutely abominable, terrible. Didn't represent this movie at all. This movie was quite cool. It was kind of like a mixture of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, James Bond, and it's happening in Tijuana. Beautiful locations in Tijuana sometimes too. But it's based on evidently a long-running novella.
And I think a Spanish-language version of this film was made prior to this, although I'm not sure what the name of it was.
Good acting, good soundtrack.
Yeah, Gina Rodriguez was really, really good on this. Good
action, very good writing. The story was solid, and the movie ends up being an origin story for this character. So I'm pretty sure they're going to make other ones.
Yeah, I kind of hope they do because I really, really liked her character. And the cool thing about this movie, like I said, it's like the trailer wasn't awful. It just didn't really. I mean, the movie is a lot different than the trailer would kind of lead you to believe.
The movie's a lot deeper, a lot heavier, a lot better.
And there's a lot more like surprises. Because
Yeah.
like the way the trailer goes, it's like you pretty much think you know how the story's going to go, but that's not how it goes.
No.
And but I like that. It was like it was just this really labyrinthine, like complex kind of story, and like double crosses and triple crosses. And it was like all this crazy shit going on. So you didn't really know what to expect, and that's one of the things I really liked about it. I mean, it was just. And that too, other than like the acting being excellent, the cinematography was just like the way it was shot was really cool.
Kind of like
were cool.
The morality's very gray in it too. It's kind of like good and the bad, the ugly. Only the star, Miss Bala, only her morality, I would say, is straight.
Because all she was trying to do was save her friend.
Right.
Who disappeared after a club shootout, and she was like looking where she was, and then she got sucked into this horrible.
Yeah, and she had to do a lot of bad stuff to get through it.
Yeah, and like, and really, like, no one is a good guy, really, but she just had to kind of like play everybody off each other and shit like that like, to get what she wanted. Right. And so yeah, this movie was like. I wasn't, you know, I was like, oh, it might be pretty good. It might be, I don't know. I couldn't really tell.
I thought it was going to be mediocre at best.
Yeah, but it's like, he was like, oh, the trailer looks so bad. It's like, I really don't want to see this. But then, like, on the way out, he's like, wow, that was excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah, I mean, and luckily we saw it in the Dolby Theater.
With the nice comfy seats and the nice sound and the big, huge screen.
Yeah, and everything vibrates, boom.
And it was super, it was crowded.
I liked how
it's in 2 theaters, actually.
I liked how they portrayed the narco-terrorist group, really good guns. It showed them training and working out and trying to get better at their trade. They all had kind of, realistic equipment. They could do a lot of stuff like impersonate police. It was good.
Yeah, and they had a lot of reach. Like, they had a lot of money.
Yeah, they had a lot of money. They had good taste in things. They could just take over houses. They had the best of everything. They would just capture women when they wanted them. It was a trip.
Yeah.
It was a trip.
But yeah, I really, really do recommend this. I thought it was a really, really good movie.
Yeah, it was good.